Who-a-zang-a-lang, and salutations, my lovely little lunatics. It's me, your friendly internet psychopath insanity. We're here with my co-host, Bob.
Hello.
And he's actually here now. We finally got him all set up and good to go.
It's nice to be able to stand again.
Yes.
Beep. Don't trip me.
I won't. We also, as you can see, I have moved my desk out here.
In your living room?
Yes, because the other room has terrible soundproofing. Here, it's kind of bad. Not that bad, actually. And I can actually have my thing against the wall, which makes it even better. So, anywho, before I do anything, it's hot. I need cold air. Okay, I'm back.
So what are we doing today?
Today, we are doing an insane reaction. A very long one, by the way.
What's the video?
The cost of Concordia.
Oh, the internet historian. Oh, he's hilarious.
Yes, and he has come out with a new video in the past couple of days.
Do we even know what the Concordia is?
No. So, that makes it perfect for an insane reaction. Beep. The cost of Concordia. The following is a satire and journalistic in nature. Excuse me. All images and media have been sourced from public record and a special care has been taken to censor names, faces, specific locations, records, and personal information of those featured to protect their privacy. Names of individuals mentioned in this video meet the criteria of public figures. Care has still been taken to keep any other information about these individuals private.
So basically, it's all out in public, don't sue us.
Exactly. And here we go.
Costa Concordia, ship of dreams. It's been 8 years.
Just
I
looking
can
at him.
still smell the buffets from their 5
Oh, that looks so nice. Oh, that's disturbing.
The casino and 3-story theater
Oh,
had
yeah.
hardly been used.
Fresh.
The gym, the day spa,
Ooh.
the sheets in her 1,500 luxurious cabins.
Oh my.
Hadn't even been slept in.
Fresh.
Costa Concordia cost $570 million to build. And you could tell. You could really tell.
Down just a little bit. Wherever you are.
Mine's just, not decent party boat.
Like
Would have loved to have
just
done that.
a few years ago. We had left Civitavecchia, a port in Rome, and we were making our way to Savona.
Savona.
It was day 2 of our 7-day journey.
Oh, that'd be so nice.
But that ship, she was cursed.
Oh no.
When she premiered, the traditional bottle of champagne bounced right off the side instead of
Well,
smashing.
they make those bottles really
Not
tough.
bad omen.
True.
But I'm not the superstitious type.
Nothing could go wrong on Friday the 13th
Uh-oh.
of January, 2012.
Uh-oh.
On the 100th year anniversary of the Titanic.
Wow, they
On a ship
really
that's
wanted to be
also
cursed.
only safety rated for 2-compartment flooding.
Okay, that's a
Especially
design
not
flaw.
when you have a 5-star max level captain
Okay.
like Francisco Scatino.
I feel bad about
A
this.
man who mysteriously rose from head of security to the position of captain within just a couple of years.
So
He
like
knows
politicians.
exactly what to do in case
Yes.
of an emergency.
Book it.
For example, when he caused this emergency in 2008, when he crashed into a port in Sicily. And in 2010, in Warnemünde, Germany, when he was steering a different ship and came into port too fast and caused another collision.
Fail upwards. Fail upwards.
I've got a good feeling about this.
So do I.
So let's
for
see.
entertainment purposes.
It's a beautiful evening.
Hey, 6
People are
days
having
before my
fun on the
birthday.
slides, drinks at the
22.
bar.
Ah,
Antonio
terrible years.
Magnotta
Terrible.
is playing a piano at the restaurant. Martin the Magician is setting up for his show.
I shall make
And
your
the ship
entertainment
is
disappear.
setting up for a little detour. It's
Detour?
called a sail by salute. Basically, you get real close to the shore and honk the horn. The locals hate it.
I could
But the
imagine
customers love
why.
it, and it's a tradition. Scatino, the captain, comes into the dining hall with a lady, Dominica Samorton. Remember this face because
Not
you'll
his
see
wife.
a lot of it later.
I feel as
Scatino
if
eats
that's
his dinner with
bad
her
omen.
and
It
socializes.
is another bad omen.
Then he, Dominica, and the maitre d' finish up and excuse themselves. They're heading to the bridge.
To the
It's
bridge.
time for that sail by salute. This
Wah.
time,
they're going to get closer than ever.
That's not good.
Just 1,500 feet from the island of Giglio. And how are they
Giglio.
going to determine this distance?
Giglio.
Well, of course, the captain is going to eyeball it. Apparently,
You're
it's not
kidding me,
uncommon
right?
to do.
That's very stupid.
Scatino
Oh, God.
turns to the fella steering, his helmsman, Jacob Ruslibin.
Okay.
First interesting tidbit. Costa Crociere has hired Jacob from Indonesia at a rock-bottom price, and he's a bit of a newbie to the job. In fact, his profession hitherto, a painter and a cleaner. It's his first time steering a massive ship, and he's very excited.
Yeah, this is
At least
exactly who you
we
want.
think he is. It's hard to tell because he doesn't speak English or Italian very well at all.
Oh,
Off to a good start. The second in command orders the helmsman to 290. Now, don't
Okay.
be confused by these numbers, they're just the degrees on a compass. At the
it's
same
just
time,
like,
the captain whips out his
PUBG.
cell phone and calls former captain Mario Palombo, who lives on the island. They chat about the safe distance to Giglio's shores. It's all very casual. Anyway, Mario says that the safe distance is between 0.3 and 0.4 miles from shore.
Yes, because then everything gets
The
too
captain
low.
is going all in.
Uh-oh.
This is not his first sail-by salute, so he's confident in
Well,
what
I
he's
mean,
doing.
he has
We're
such
going
a good
closer
track
than we've
record.
ever been before. The captain's eyeballing it again.
A little bit of.
New heading of 300, he tells the helmsman. Downstairs, Martin is about to cut his assistant in half.
Good.
And of course, that means that there's already a lady inside this box.
Wait.
She's waiting for the cue, and then she'll poke her legs out.
That's how it works?
The captain
I thought
is
it was
giving
robotic
no
or something.
orders.
I thought it was as
Pulling
well.
gently to 310. Increase speed to 16 knots.
That
Going
sounds
this
fast.
is going to be a fatal error.
Yeah, that
But
sounds
before we
very
talk about
fast.
that, let's talk about another big problem. Language barrier.
I mean, yes.
Because at this point,
Dude
the
can't
captain
speak
says
English.
325, but the helmsman relays 315.
No.
So the first officer intervenes, and he goes, no, 335, which is also wrong. And then the captain clarifies, no, 325.
I can already
The
see
helmsman
it in my
confirms
mind's eye.
325.
Destruction,
Their poor
death.
communication has them moving at a much wider angle than they think they are.
Oh, that looks bad.
However, the captain should and would know this, except for the next problem, complacency about procedure.
It'll
The
all
standard
work out
procedure of a ship
fine.
this
Even if it
large
doesn't,
is
I've
for the
already done this
third
twice
officer
before.
to give exact positional coordinates every time the captain gives
She
them
looks
new
like she's so good at her
directional order.
job.
But
Yes.
they're not doing that.
Uh-oh.
330, he says. The helmsman relays 330. The ship reaches 16 knots. The captain then turns to the second officer and instructs him to go to the left wing.
Okay, let's go see what's going on.
That's these things here, and they basically exist so you can get a better view over the whole vessel.
How's it going over there?
A few seconds pass, and then the mood starts to turn.
Ow.
Scatino notices
Wait a minute.
white foam of waves breaking against the rocks directly in front of him in the distance. The Costa Concordia right now is almost 700 meters closer to the rocks than it should be. Without deviation,
Oh,
there
that's
is going to
gonna
be
end
a
badly.
direct
Yep.
collision.
Yup.
Scatino
My
immediately
sentiments
commands
exactly.
the ship to start turning away. 335.
Whip it.
Not enough.
Whip it.
The
Whip it
captain
around.
shouts, 340. The captain yells, 350.
Keep going. We almost got this. But
Now,
it's 16 knots.
Remember how I said that accelerating
Yeah.
to 16 knots was a fatal error? Well, that's because it's made this ship incapable of such a drastic
They're gonna do the
turn.
drift.
What
Tokyo
they've
drift.
got is understeer.
Deja vu.
Here's an
I've
example.
been to the
The
place
front end is not
before.
working. You're turning, and you're just going straight. You want to go over
Yeah,
here,
and
but
the
you're
size of
gonna
a
end up over here.
boat, a
So
yacht.
despite the order
Yeah, so that's
of
gonna go.
350, right now the bow is still only pointing at 327. Not nearly enough.
That's
to
gonna
miss the
hurt.
rock.
That's so gonna hurt.
And oh no, it's about to get worse.
How could it get
That
worse
language
than
barrier
this?
again. In these critical
Oh, yeah, that
moments
makes
where
sense.
every second
I don't
counts,
understand
the
what you're saying.
helmsman wrongly
I'll just do what I
relays
think is good.
340. The captain snaps back. 350 starboard or we end up on the rocks. The third officer goes to assist the helmsman. Now, don't get confused by the orders from here. We're changing over to rudder instructions.
Okay.
The captain yells, starboard 10, starboard 20, and still
that's it,
it's
yeah,
not
right.
enough. Hard to starboard. That means as hard as it'll go. But at this point, even
turning,
if they
keep turning, you
clear
got
these
this?
rocks, they need to get the rest of the ship
Yeah, it's gonna whip.
to swing around it.
Anyone who's ever
So the
felt
captain
on
yells,
ice or anything like that.
midship,
Yep.
which centers the rudder. The bow is now less than 150 meters from Skull Rock. Port 10. But the
That's not
helmsman
enough.
only gets to port 5 before another order is given 2 seconds later. Port 20.
Just keep
They
turning.
might
Keep turning it.
just avoid
Eventually
disaster.
it'll work.
Maybe.
Oh,
But then, oh no.
That language
One
barrier.
more time, the helmsman cocks up at the worst possible
Oh,
moment.
wait, maybe not.
The helmsman goes to starboard instead of port.
Dyslexia ruins it all.
8 seconds later, he realizes the error and corrects.
8 seconds, that's all it took.
He has just turned a probable near miss into a
Ship
sure
would have missed the rock
hit.
by 10
All they
meters.
can do now is hold on as the bow of the ship narrowly passes by the rocks. Hard to port! The second officer yells, "We're gonna hit!"
And...
Collision.
Ooh, that sounds painful.
I cannot imagine how terrifying that would be.
My spaghetti and olive oil. And the wine. Oh, we're in so much trouble.
Oh, yes, you are. More pasta.
Bad time.
Ed Tin.
Downtown.
He's one of the only people I like
Nordtown.
watching his ads.
Yeah, because they're actually funny.
It's day 56, playing Russian roulette. Seems I never win.
That's a shotgun. A double-barreled
Somebody
surrender
has to.
shotgun. Hard to play
I
Russian
hear
roulette
you're
with
a
that.
man who's good at finding folks.
Yes.
I'm many things.
I'm looking for this fella. I got
Oh,
to find
no.
him. It's breaking my little heart.
I'll see what I can do. I have contacts in thousands
Not
of
available
servers in dozens
in your
of
region.
countries across the globe. And just like that,
She was gone.
she was gone.
Poof.
The only thing she left was a calling card.
Isn't that your calling card?
Sometimes when you follow a case, it follows you back.
Yes, like depression and other psychotic hallucinations.
Yes.
But who can protect me?
From myself.
When they said this job gets easier, it was just another lie.
love the
Forensics found
so
the password
stupid.
spread all the way down the block. In a perfect
Oh,
world,
no.
we'd all use
The
an
blue
old
screen of
VPN.
death.
Really doesn't affect us that
But I
much
guess
anymore.
No,
this
not
isn't
really.
that kind of a story. I took the brakes off my car. A man like me never really learned how to stop.
I love how he broke laughing, but yep.
I took the steering wheel out too. I let the road take me where I'm supposed to be. That's right, Toots. Your husband's dead.
Dead. He was a computer.
Merry Christmas. Go to NordVPN.
Yeah, this is why I love his
Internet
ads.
store
They're so
for
stupid,
a
they're quite
huge
funny.
discount
Yes.
to your pleasure.
Stupid, yet hilarious. Explosion sound! Here!
Ad?
Yay!
The ship hits rocks on the port
Oh
side.
yeah, back to death and destruction.
A 53-meter gash opens up in the hull. Thousands of tons
That's a
of
massive
water begin
cock-up.
pouring in.
The cock-up
A
cascade
loud
begins,
scraping
or
and
continues.
bang is heard by all passengers. At the helm is panic.
What was it?
Rumblings in the dining room.
Reminds-
Martin awkwardly pauses his
Oh,
act
no,
as he's helping his assistant into the box.
Get out.
Meanwhile, the lady inside
Let me
is
out,
trapped
let me
and
out.
terrified.
I would
There's
be.
confusion.
I'm
across the
claustrophobic,
ship.
so never.
All of the crew off shift come back on duty. All officers run to the bridge. Technical
Oh,
crews run down
time
to
to
the lower
hope
decks to assess
that we can
damage.
salvage this.
On connection with the
Very
rocks, they
unlikely.
lose
Very
propulsion
unlikely.
and slow to 8.3 knots. And they are now
Yeah, a little bit more.
adrift.
Oh,
Close the watertight doors at stern.
What a drift at sea!
Enormous volumes of water are
giant-
pouring in.
Uh-oh.
So much so that within 29 seconds of collision, all 6 engines stop working through flooding.
Oh,
22
it
seconds
just gets
later,
worse.
a
The
blackout.
cock cascade continues.
Lights,
Ow.
electrics, water pumps too. Everything.
Reminds me of that time
The captain orders the helmsman
Rave
hard
boat
starboard.
got grounded, but
This
no
is
one
the
knew because
final
there was just
position
loud
of the
party.
rudder before
Oh
power
wow,
for
that
that
sucks.
too is lost.
Well, you lost
The
everything.
Costa Concordia, now without power, is drifting starboard.
So they're
Plunged
drifting.
into absolute darkness.
So they're drifting out to sea.
Oh, that's not good at
A
all.
quick
that's
breakdown of the
terrifying.
flooding. When the Concordia
open
struck
water.
land, it tore open 3 watertight compartments. At first, compartment 5, which filled very rapidly. Then 6 more slowly,
Uh-oh.
4 shortly after. Then 7, 8, and 3. Modern ships are built to withstand 2 compartment breaches. These compartments especially, though, are a problem.
Well, that's where the
because
engines
they
are.
contain the engines and the electrics.
So glad no one
These
got
main
shocked.
generators give power to the whole ship. From
This is why you
propulsion
have
motors to rudder
more of
to
a backup
hotel
system.
bunkers. Pretty much everything.
Not right
When
next to
they
each other,
went
by the
out,
way.
The ship was a functionless, sinking cage.
A ghost ship.
A few seconds later, the emergency batteries for internal
Well,
lighting and communication
Ghost of
kick
the
on.
machine god.
Yes. ghost machine
When the
gun.
lights come back on, Martin has vanished.
He flipped the left.
Ditched the stage, and it caused a huge panic in the theater.
Okay, you can
as
get out. I'm
passengers
not
are
gonna get
trying
sued.
to flee to their cabins and to
Run away.
muster stations.
Run away.
People
Oh, yeah.
already in their cabins.
Oh,
come
yeah,
out
I
and
would
start
lose
putting
my
on
shit.
life
Oh, yeah.
vests.
No,
Staff
I
rally
would
and
be
try to
freaking
calm
the fuck
everyone
out.
down. Everything
I
is fine.
hate
There's
open
no need
water.
for vests. Please return to your cabins.
I hate open water.
The emergency generator starts.
It's one of my most terrifying things.
All of the watertight doors close except for door 12,
Uh-oh.
which is jammed. The captain
Another thing
calls
you think
Pilon,
they should
the
be
chief
made
engineer,
sure it works.
As the ship begins to list on the port side. There's water coming in? Yes, there's water.
Yes.
But where? The engine room.
Oh no.
But a lot of water?
Yes.
Yes!
There's water, you can't go down. Let's go down the other side.
In a moment, we'll start the pumps. I'll let you know. In the theater,
Basically-
the whole magic box
Uh-oh.
apparatus slides right off the stage and falls into the crowd, further increasing panic.
That would be terrifying.
On the bridge, an announcement is being prepared.
What do we
They are
do?
going to lie to
yes.
prevent a panic.
Lie.
Let's just say we have a blackout.
That is partially smart, but at the same time, you are
The
sinking.
deputy chief engineer enters the engine control room. He confirms to the bridge that at
Running.
least compartments 5, 6, and 7 are flooded.
So basically, everything we
Announcements
need.
are made.
The captain to inform you that due to an electrical fault, which is currently under control, we're currently in a blackout. Our technicians are working to resolve the situation.
Lie,
However,
lie,
volume
lie
of
again
developments
until the
has
truth is
been-
made a
Thank you for your
lie.
attention.
Yes, until they believe it.
Coincidentally, at the same time in the restaurant,
down.
they're playing My Heart Will Go On, and it's very much not helping the situation. The captain calls the Costa Crisis Unit, Roberto Ferrarini. He tells the crisis unit that they've hit a rock.
Oh, we've hit a
that they're
rock.
assessing
It's-
damages and
it's
that
not
they
that
are
bad.
also in a blackout. The crisis officer says to reverse the ship up onto shore. Well, how are you going to do that?
We have no
You don't
power.
have power to the rudder, let alone the engine. You know, hoist the sails? Anyway, around this time, the wind direction creates a starboard lift.
That's also
and the
terrifying,
ship
'cause you're
begins
gonna be
to turn
s-
anyway,
like,
drifting
hey,
right back towards
at least
the
you're
shore,
not
which
going
is a
out in the
very
middle
good
of
thing
nowhere.
because you want the ship to end up as close to
Yes.
shore as possible.
Yes, not far into the
A
ocean.
panicked passenger senses that something is off. This isn't like any electrical problem that she's
Why?
ever seen.
Like, this
Plus,
is odd.
there was a
I
massive
sense
crashing
lies.
noise, and now the ship
Lies
is
and
tilted.
deceit.
So, she contacts her daughter in Italy. The daughter then calls the police. And
Smart.
the police
Very
call
smart.
the harbour master. While that goes on,
Very
a
smart.
conversation between Pilon and Ambrosio. The diesel is not starting.
won't
the
work.
captain asks
We
the
can't get it
engine
work.
room,
Why won't it
"But
work?"
Where have we
Because
made
it's flooded.
contact? Thinking that the incoming water can be reduced. Captain, here everything is lost. The electrical panel, everything.
That's what happens when you dump
They're
water
saying
on
at this
electrics.
point that the ship is going down.
I'm
The
in a
captain
giant
calls
tuna
Roberto
can and it's about to
Ferrarini
sink.
again. Actually, 2 compartments have been flooded.
It's worse than
but
I thought.
Don't worry, the ship's
Or at least
stability
worse than
isn't
I
in
explained.
danger.
Are you sure about that?
Passengers begin going to muster stations on their own initiative.
Nope,
The cruise director
I'm
says,
out.
"We have a lot of people at muster stations that I do not want to fall overboard. Do we make an announcement to tell them to go to the lounges?" Bozio says, "I
This is
think
the
that's
worst
fair."
cock-up cascade I've ever been
The
a part
harbour
of.
master from Livorno calls the ship. The captain tells them that we just have a blackout.
Oh, it's just
How
not
long
that
has this
bad.
blackout been going on?
It's far
About
worse.
20 minutes.
Far worse.
Have you asked passengers to put on life vests? It's just a blackout.
No.
I gotta go. The harbour master is suspicious. He says to his superiors that he thinks something more is going on. He calls a patrol boat to the area and asks them to look at
Well,
the ship.
let's go make sure.
Another problem.
He sounds
The
sus.
fan on the emergency diesel generator isn't working properly. Pilon manually has to turn the thing on and off with a screwdriver so that it doesn't overheat and cause a fire.
Oh,
The
that's
captain's on the phone
terrifying.
to the lower
Yeah, as a
decks,
welder.
asking pointless questions. Like,
I don't wanna deal
"Is
with
it
that
still
stuff."
flooded?
I don't want
Yes.
to deal with electronic
Yes, it is.
issues.
The captain is essentially in denial of the situation.
Yeah,
The
because
harbour master calls again.
3 strikes and you're out,
Finally, he
bitch.
says,
Oh,
the
yeah.
ship is taking on water through an opening in the left side and the ship is listing.
we okay, I'm
qualifies
gonna
with-
stop lying.
No one dead or injured.
As far
The
as we
harbour
know.
master asks if he needs help. Just a tugboat? When in reality, they need a full rescue. With 3 compartments flooded,
Yeah,
the
it's
captain
sinking.
finally
A tugboat's just
realizes
gonna
that
drag it
things
along the
are
ground.
really bad, and they are
Oh, yeah.
not going to improve. The
Time
Coast
to get
Guard
out of
orders every available ship to the scene.
To the
Meanwhile,
boats.
up with the passengers,
Yes.
the cruise director's assistant says, everything's under control.
No, it's not.
Please
The boat is
return to
leaning.
your cabins or hang about in the lounges, no problem.
No, I am not
She said
going back
this
to my
despite
cabin.
knowing it was wrong.
I'm
and
not
that
going
it
back to a
further
death
endangered
machine.
lives. Most passengers
Tuna
at this
can,
point, though,
no.
aren't listening to this nonsense.
Oh, good.
And they're
Yeah, good
busy
job.
figuring
Smart.
out how to
Smart.
abandon
Get
the
out.
ship. Bang, 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 bang.
Get the hell out.
Local television has already picked up the story, and they begin broadcasting live radio feed
Wow,
from
that
the
is a
bridge.
heavy lead.
Yeah, that's bad.
The passengers are
That is
going
very
on board
bad.
the boats. Okay, let them go to shore.
Okay, we're done.
So
We're
the
done.
general
We're done.
emergency? Wait, let me talk to Ferrarini. We risk the emergency generators that do not have cooling. It has cooling problems. 100 degrees.
Oh, yeah, I
The
forgot,
cooling
because he's
fan
gotta
has
keep turning
stopped.
it on and off.
Pelon calls the bridge and tells the safety officer
No, we're
they
done.
need to
We're out.
evacuate.
We're
The
done.
safety
We gotta get
officer
out.
relays this to the
Smart.
captain, but after no response, he orders the engine room to
Smart
evacuate
man.
on his own. The captain says, "No, stay. We're leaving." So what do we do?
Tell him to go to
General
hell.
emergency?
Yes! At that point, I'm standing
The
like
captain
this.
tells Ferrarini that he's abandoning ship.
I'm outta
Abandoned
here,
ship.
bitch. I'm out.
Another
I'm out.
announcement is made.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please.
Please.
The situation is under control. Please remain
No, it's
calm.
not.
But at this time,
The boat is
proceed to
listing.
your station. They're located outside on
God, could you imagine if we were there
The
with the
Livorno Coast
Levy
Guard
and everything?
calls again.
Oh, yeah, I'd be
The
like-
captain declares distress. The Coast Guard officially calls for rescue operations.
Yep, need
They
help.
contact Pietro Mille, the helicopter base commander, who then calls in every available pilot. As he rushes down to the
Fly to the
helicopter,
Valkyries.
Elon shuts down the emergency generator for the final time.
Let's get the hell out of here.
First rescue vessel arrives. By
Change
this
it.
point, the lifeboats are already going. Luckily, the ship is very close to shore. Oh, perhaps too close to shore. The ship forcefully runs aground, creating an uneven center of gravity. And it begins heavily listing starboard. The captain
as well
issues
jump
a
out at that
general
point. No.
emergency on board.
Oh, yeah, the
The
rocks.
announcement to
Yeah.
abandon ship is
Also,
finally
it's dark,
called and
and
alarms
I'm terrified of,
ring out.
once
And
again,
with that
open water in the middle of the
comes
night.
panic.
Yeah, like,
And now that they're listing, with many of the lifeboats too awkwardly positioned to enter the water, there aren't enough readily available, and they have to start going back and forth to the shore,
Cheese,
picking
get the
people
hell
up
out.
and dropping them off. The patrol boats report to the Livorno harbour master that the ship has run aground and is listing heavily.
Oh,
So the
that's bad.
harbour master asks the captain about it, and the captain says, no, the ship is still floating. In fact, we're trying to maneuver it onto the shore. They know he's lying.
it's gone from sus to bullshit.
The captain then says to bottom out the starboard anchor.
Bottom it out.
So they drop
Okay.
out the anchors,
That's
but
how-
let out too much chain, effectively rendering them useless.
Yeah,
The
God.
deputy mayor of Giglio, Mario Pellegrini, and tobacco shop owner Giovanni Rossi
course he's
arrive
driving
at
a
the harbor.
Ferrari.
They watch the scene unfold.
Could you imagine
As the
just
first
like-
of the lifeboats arrive on shore, the deputy mayor takes the initiative and races to board one of the lifeboats, returning to the ship.
The
He
manly
starts trying to
man.
find someone in charge.
Where the hell
he
is
gives
everyone?
up and starts with the passengers.
They ran.
Scatino tells everyone to leave and take radios, but not before changing out of his uniform and into a nice suit. Priorities. Dimitri Christidis and Sylvia Koronica leave with him. The maitre d' and some more can both get out of there. By this point, approximately
Freaking
300
asshole.
people are still on the ship. Millet reaches
that's
the
terrifying.
helicopter base.
Okay, time to get out of
The first helicopter, a slow-moving Augusta
God, I
Bell,
hope
was
he gets it.
already
Oh, I
rising
hope
from
he
the
does.
tarmac for the hour-long
God, I hope he
flight
does.
south. Bozio is the last
Also, that's a very
crewman
long
left
way.
on the bridge, coordinating evacuation. He then leaves to help passengers.
The amount of
board
stupid is burning
lifeboats.
my eyes.
The bridge is
Or
now
your hair.
abandoned.
Yes.
And then the ship's black box stops working. Apparently there were technical problems with it.
Of
That
course
means
there were.
From here, things
I
are going to
mean-
get a little foggy.
The whole thing was filled with
A
technical
while
problems.
later, rescue
Yeah, and
helicopters
stupidity.
arrive, but they're struggling to find the ship because they're expecting it to still be well above water. Passengers are scaling down the port side by ladder as lifeboats return to pick them up.
This is no joke.
Holy
Oh my goodness.
crap!
It was no joke, mi amor.
I would. God, I can't imagine how terrifying that is. Wait a minute, what?
Yes.
What's she doing here?
allowed to make a
Oh,
film
I'm
movie.
fuck
allowed,
you.
I'm allowed.
Who say you are?
I am allowed.
A second
Fuck
helicopter,
you, bitch.
a faster model, sets off. The ship
Oh,
stops
no.
healing and comes to a final resting place.
Oh,
Now the
God.
Coast Guard calls the captain because he's just
Where
learned that the captain has
hell-
abandoned ship. The captain claims, no, actually, I slipped and I fell into one of the lifeboats.
Ravioli.
But now that I'm
Ravioli.
on board,
Gotta
I may as
escape.
well head back to shore.
Something.
DeFalco tells the captain,
Get
the fuck
back on that ship, you
board."
idiot.
And the captain kind of acts confused and then effectively refuses. So the captain makes it to shore.
Wow.
From here, we only have mainstream news reports to rely on, so it's not going to be super accurate.
That
But they say
cowardice
that GU's
dickbag.
police chief then finds 110 survivors on the rocks at Point Gabbianara. And among them is the captain. It's not known whether the captain helped anyone while he was there, and in fact, the police chief claimed that he just sat on the rocks and watched other people do the rescuing. A while later, a rescue boat
How many
picks up
people
the
are
captain
injured and
and
dead?
takes him
I don't
to
know,
harbour
but
and
God,
speaks to
I-
the police. He then finds the ship's onboard chaplain, Father Rafael Molina, and cried to him for about 15 minutes.
He realized
Then he
he's
goes to the harbour master's office to receive probably the biggest dressing down of his entire life. Port authorities ask the taxi driver to take the captain back to his hotel. The captain takes the 30-second cab ride to the Bahamas
Of course,
hotel.
failing upwards.
According to the cabbie,
leads
he was beaten
to-
like a dog. He was cold and afraid. He only asked me where he could buy a pair of fresh socks.
I got nothing.
But then he perked right up again and gave an interview to a news crew. He told them that he was the last to leave.
The captain is usually the last to
So
abandon
apparently
the ship.
35 people are still on
What
board?
happened to captain?
We were the last to leave the ship.
Oh, really?
All they
Sus.
said, they rescuers search for people on the ship.
Oh, God.
On Sunday morning, a South Korean couple is found in their cabin, safe but shivering.
Yeah,
they
no,
had
that
slept
is-
through the crash.
That's the main reason I would not have gone back to my
unable exit their
cabin.
cabin.
You can't break out
The
of that
last
glass.
survivor, Manrico Giampandroni, was found with a broken leg. He was the cabin's service director.
Ow.
In the end, 32 people died. The final body wasn't discovered until nearly 3 years later. A crew member, Russell Rebello, and it's believed that he died a hero helping passengers off the ship. The Costa Concordia
Holy shit.
was the largest cruise ship disaster since the Titanic.
Yeah,
And
and it
then
all
there's
started.
the ship. This is what happens to a 110,000-ton cruise liner when it's left half rolled over in the ocean.
Dear God.
Yeah, 3 years in the ocean.
Just to think, though. Well, yeah, and once again, it is in the ocean and all, but just that much damage over 3 years? It's scary. God. 33 people dead. All because that guy was a complete idiot. God, I can't imagine how many were injured.
But this
Oh,
isn't the
whoa,
end. It's just the
whoa.
halfway point.
Halfway
What
point.
most people know is that the Costa Concordia had crashed, many dead, and that the captain abandoned ship like a coward.
Of course,
But there's a
pasta.
whole veritable spaghetti of details to untangle. Let's dive in.
Oh, God, no.
There they are. The deets.
Oh, why would you do that? I got this. Ow. True, all that money. That's immediately where I would go. The casino and alcohol. All that good alcohol.
Box time. The Costa Concordia was more than just a floating resort.
Yes.
It was a mall. A casino.
Casino, big for me.
Cha-ching.
Yep.
This iron chest was full of safes and cash registers and expensive
Oh,
fittings.
God.
And there were plenty of
Overwatch.
gamers prepared to sneak by authorities and try their
Time to
luck.
get my looting
Hot
on.
zone.
We're dropping in.
Within days, police divers reported that valuable items, once seen lying around the ship, were now
Wet
missing.
socks.
High-end liquor, expensive
Ooh, yeah.
furniture,
Nah.
dining sets,
Nah.
cash from the casino,
Yes.
cash registers,
Yes.
jewelry and display cabinets, safes, Japanese woodblock prints by famous 18th century artists, as well as the iconic bell, which hung from the bridge of the ship. It was never found.
How would you get that?
Who steals a big fuck-off bell? Even
Ah,
the server
mean
admins
lords.
were getting involved. 4 divers who were part of the company contracted to refloat the Concordia
haven't
were
played
spotted on
PUBG in so long.
CCTV, sneaking out to the ship.
So the CRC-TV still
A
works.
patrol boat was dispatched, and the men
That's
were
pretty
caught
funny.
inside the fancy suites
damn it.
with rucksacks full of stolen goods. The 4 men are charged with
Damn.
stealing and thieving.
Stealing and
Pension.
$200
Later
46
on,
months ago.
stolen as well as legitimate items found their way to Amazon and eBay. Chips from the casino, postcards, and cabin access cards became highly sought after souvenirs.
True.
Even has a watermark.
Some Australian guy even made a listing for the ship itself, advertising it as buyer to collect.
You gotta come
And
get
although
it.
there were plenty of bidders,
How?
eBay pulled the plug.
Of course, yeah. But you won't do that with the GPUs, you jackasses. That's not 3/4. I like your gusto, though.
I know you want to see Scatino go to jail, and
Yes.
we'll get to that.
Yes.
But first, we have to talk about someone else.
The one lady.
Domnica
His not wife.
Samorton.
That was a close one.
There was speculation that she was on the bridge that evening because she was the captain's mistress.
intense media speculation. Reports that her presence distracted
How much you want to bet it's true?
Seeing
They
it's
both
in this video,
denied
I
their
do.
love for years and maintained that they were just friends.
Oh no.
Although she did later admit to the media that she found him handsome.
Not
and how
good.
could you not?
You so fucking precious. When you smile.
Why?
She says there was no
Why do they always wear
romantic
Speedos?
link
I don't know.
between them.
Some people would like to believe, they want to know I have something with him. It's more interesting. It's like, some spicy in the story.
Miss Morton also loved the spotlight, however,
Everyone, oh look!
and took several interviews. But as the
Yeah, that's your
pressure mounted
downfall.
upon her,
Shut up, go
she
away,
began
don't do
making
anything.
ominous threats to Scatino, saying he must confess.
You
and
must
that you
tell
have
everyone.
but 1 week to come clean.
She's hoping to get out
But
of
things
this.
from here get weird.
Yeah, sorry.
Sir Morton is a bit of a wild card. In a subsequent interview, she claimed a helicopter came to the ship well before the other rescue craft to take away a package. Huh? And what was that package?
Drugs?
Drugs,
Yep.
apparently. So rumors began that the ship
That would
was
explain
running
a lot.
narcotics
It would if
for
it
the
was
mafia.
true.
And not without cause. A number of cruise ships.
That is
even
true. They are in
recently have been
international
caught trafficking
waters.
Drugs. As an aside,
Yeah, those
Scatino
rape
was
boats
tested
have a
for
lot of
drugs
issues
immediately
sometimes.
after the
Yes.
crash. He tested negative for drugs in his system. True. But trace amounts of cocaine were found in a hair sample.
Makes it smoother.
Well, that just takes time, doesn't it?
Less dry.
Either that or he
Nonetheless,
was...
the
literally
Concordia was
just
searched
smashing
and
his
no
head with
drugs were
cocaine.
reportedly ever found.
Well, at least that's
How
good.
did we get here?
Oh, right. The one lady.
Sir Morton commented on it again the next day. And said,
Okay.
actually, that helicopter was just for the captain as a means of evacuation from the ship.
No, it wasn't.
Okay, wait.
It went on a boat.
So she expected to get some sort of first-class rescue while everyone else was still stuck on the ship?
Bitch.
Wait, how did we get here? Oh, right, sex with the captain. Divers were quick to head to the captain's cabin, where they found Miss Sir Morton's lingerie and other articles of clothing as well
coconut
as a makeup
bikini.
bag.
God,
The
those
jig
things are probably
was up,
painful.
But they continued denying. Sir Morton mostly faded from international attention until
Every
she
day
was
until
told
you
to
die.
appear before the court to present
Come on.
witness testimony. The judge pressed her to be truthful about their relationship, or she would be held in contempt.
Tell me the truth or shut up.
So finally,
That's right,
she
Dr. Phil.
admitted.
Of course.
Yes, I had a sentimental relationship with the captain.
Stop.
Good.
But now, stop asking about my private life.
Fuck no,
She was
bitch.
indeed the captain's lover.
What is up, Trouble Alert Nation? City no cheated on his wife with Seymour Tan. Oh my god!
She and
God, I wish I
Scatino
had
had been
editing
having an
skills as
affair
good
for
as
several
the internet
weeks.
historian.
She also
Maybe
said
one
that
day.
on the night
Maybe
she
one day.
boarded, she didn't have a ticket.
Ticket, please.
And didn't need to pay because nobody questions you when you're the captain's lover.
Of course.
Naturally, she gave another confusing interview after leaving court.
I want to say that today is the second time I die because the first time I died in the night of the crash.
Then I suck a dick and then dick come for me and life
And
and life.
today I died the
Boo-hoo.
second time.
Boo-hoo,
Because,
bitch.
Of course, people find out something that I try to hide.
Subsequent to the trial,
Yeah.
she used her fame in Moldova to become a political activist, often appearing on television and radio and in articles covering
Maybe we
protests,
should do something like that.
accompanied by
Maybe.
pictures of her
Do some
being
kind of
arrested
really
by police.
stupid thing and then use it to get money afterwards. And, I have. Get out. Get out, bitch. Bye-bye, bitch. No, leave me alone. No, leave me alone. Get the bitch. Littering.
It was some stuff about victims of violence, women's rights, yada yada yada. And interestingly, part of a push to block the sale of shares of Moldova's train network to Russia.
Huh?
Other than that, I don't really know what she's been up to. Let me just check on her Oh god, not again.
No.
Who would allow her anywhere near anything like that?
Whoop. It's the little stupid edits.
They're great.
Several civil suits
thank
were
God.
quickly
I love
lodged against Costa Crociere. And their parent company,
Robot Chicken.
Carnival Cruises,
Throw the book at you.
immediately saw a share drop of 23%.
Ooh.
Passengers sought compensation for their damaged mental health, lost belongings, and loved ones.
Either they allowed
Danger.
him to divert from his course, or they didn't know where their billion-dollar ship was.
Within a few days, facing financial and media pressure, the CEO attempted to join the bandwagon against the captain and the crew.
He was an idiot.
That was not the ordinary route that the ship was
I smell sus.
I do as well. Well, he's a billionaire.
Not only taking
Not-
him by the time.
Claiming that the ship was not approved to deviate from the route. But
Yeah.
that wasn't true. Approval isn't required if the ship is deviating by less than 15 miles, or that it was against company rules. Also untrue, because investigators found that they didn't have any rules about deviating route, and they
This is why
tacitly
rules,
encouraged
and you need a
sail
lot
by
of them.
salutes.
Yes.
Now, in response to the civil suit,
For stuff like
Costa
this.
Crociere
Oh, God,
offered
that boat.
passengers 11,000 euros each as compensation.
That's kind of small.
11,000 euros, about $14,000, is the minimum compensation under international law when the ship is abandoned.
This was to
Sue the
reimburse them for
fuck
their
out of
tickets, as well as any costs they accrued in having to unexpectedly travel home early.
Yeah, I doubt that.
And that was supposed to release them from everything and
No.
anything that
No.
has to do with this
Nope,
accident.
throw into oblivion.
I cannot
Yes.
ask for more than this.
A lot of passengers, understandably, were not too happy
Yeah.
with this deal, and they refused to take the money.
We think the offer is an insult for what these
Pretty
poor
much.
passengers went through.
God,
We
I
think
can't
that
imagine
the compensation being
That
offered
would fuck
is
with
not
me for the rest of my
commensurate.
life. No.
Compensation being offered is not commensurate.
Later, Costa Crociere would lodge a plea deal with the Tuscany court to pay a €1 million fine to avoid a criminal trial. The judge agrees. Costa Crociere is now off the hook for all criminal liability for the whole thing.
Yeah,
They've
fuck that.
washed their hands
Nope.
of the incident
Yeah.
and flexed the
Well, that's
residual
the way it
droplets
works,
of
isn't it?
responsibility onto the faces
That is the way it
of
does
6 staff members. Passengers and relatives of the dead are livid that the company has been able to avoid criminal responsibility.
Offered is not commensurate.
Civil suits against the company continue. By the way, the
Good.
residents of
Oh,
the
yeah,
island
civil
of
suits, good.
Giglio also banded together and sought damages. They didn't get much.
Of course not.
Eventually, passengers who refused the initial compensation of 11,000 joined civil parties against Scatino in his trial in
Is
2015.
not commensurate.
They were awarded 30,000 euros each. Other cases,
Okay, yeah, that's much
especially
better.
those involving lost relatives,
Yeah,
are
death?
settled for undisclosed amounts.
Probably millions.
Hopefully, at least.
Once again, this shit. Scams? What?
New York attorney Peter Renee traveled to Budapest to represent 6
Budapest.
real survivors of the disaster.
At Renee, we personally work on every case.
Oh, one of
And
these
we'll
guys.
work harder than
Is
anyone
he
to
the
get you the
scammer?
most money
God, I can
possible
imagine
in
he
the
is.
shortest amount
Please
of
don't let
time.
him be.
And while on the job, a 7th case cropped up.
Oh, look, it's Asmund
via
shit.
email. An elderly woman, a loner, said,
Help
where I
me,
used to
Mr.
live.
Ronai, for I have lost my daughter,
Blah,
Eva,
blah,
and my
blah, blah,
5-year-old
blah, blah.
granddaughter, Roxana.
So
Sounds
Mr.
like bullshit.
Renee agreed to speak with her.
Okay.
However, there were some inconsistencies in her story.
Oh god, at least
Neither
the
Eva
lawyer isn't
nor
the scam
Roxana
artist in
were
this.
on the
That would be
passenger
nice.
list. Odd. But Costa
Wow,
is
so they
known
didn't
for
even
having
do any
stowaways.
research.
Well, still, Mr. Renard
Stowaways.
was suspicious.
Sus.
They wouldn't cheaty old Petey, would they? Renee inquired further about why she was on board, especially without a
Excuse me.
ticket. Ilona said,
Well, I don't know, but you should ask her boyfriend.
Zolt Horvath.
He'll know all the details.
I'm up all night. I'm going crazy, he said. But Mr. Renai was still suspicious. Because then she asked, how much money do you think this is worth?
And there's the problem.
This is a huge red flag, Petey.
Oh,
In
yeah.
20 years of doing this, you've never had anyone ask about money. Why now?
What's going on?
So Mr. Renai hired an investigator and sent photos around of the missing girl. The next day, the phone
Hey, at
rang.
least he does his due
Oh,
diligence.
anyway, it was
Yeah,
the
he's-
boyfriend
that's
again.
actually really-
Look, there's
really
been
interesting.
a bit of a misunderstanding, and
Okay.
the child isn't missing at all. Uh-huh. And then he claimed he was confused because he had done too many drugs the night before. Oh. Okay, can I speak to the daughter then? At first, he was refused. So Renai said that he'd have to file a missing persons report to the police if he couldn't. The boyfriend relented. That night, Renai met with Zolt and brought the police with him. He speaks to the granddaughter and
God,
asks
look at
her
that
if she's
shithole.
seen Mum. Yeah, I saw her today. Oh, really? Yeah, we went to the park today and we
Sucks
went
about
on
children.
the
They're
swings.
not good liars.
Oh no, the jig was up.
Yep.
So the mum walks into the room sheepishly. It's a miracle.
I'm
And the story
not
changed
dead.
again. Okay, I'm not dead, but I did injure my leg when I jumped from the ship. And then I
Okay.
immediately flew back to Budapest.
Okay.
Although don't worry about checking my leg because there are no visible marks or injuries. Oh, Petey, I'm beginning to think they weren't even on the boat. Also, turns out this lady isn't her mum, it's just a neighbor.
Wow.
Eventually,
All makes
Renee
sense.
managed to make the pair confess. And then they said, hey, we haven't done anything wrong. We haven't taken any money. And
That
in the end, it looks
does-
like there'll be no criminal punishment for the scam, because Hungary, a former communist country, has no laws against insurance fraud on the books.
Great.
Law firm that never sleeps. Call 1-800-6647.
Poor guy. Oh, another shit in it. Another shit in it. Bam. Explosion. Vada a bordo.
Mario, would you teach me some Italian?
Oh, of course.
Get back on board, for fuck's sake.
Thanks.
Gregorio De Falco.
That's
the
definitely
naval
Mario.
officer who
I know.
shouted
I
at
play video
Scatino
games.
to Vada a bordo caso, became a bit of a national hero overnight in Italy. He,
Makes sense.
like
Call
the
a
rest of the
dude out
world,
on his
expected
awful
Scatino
bullshit.
to go down with the ship.
With the shoes. We're gonna learn what you can do.
So edgy with his lipstick and nose
And when the
rings.
captain chickened out,
No.
De Falco was there to admonish him. And when he stopped answering the radio, he called him on his cell phone to continue putting him on blast.
But I will really hurt you. I will cause you a
When the
problem.
captain first reported just a blackout, De Falco didn't believe the story and immediately began preparing a rescue effort, which likely saved several lives. His actions were applauded by most Italians who were tired of their
Good.
public servants being corrupt and avoiding
Yeah, I could
responsibility.
imagine. Trust in
Accordingly,
government. Whoa.
shirts sporting Vada a bordo caso were being printed by the end of the week. Others
Hey, gotta
serving
make the
it
money.
as their phone's ringtone. But then, in September 2014,
What do you mean
without
then?
warning, De Falco was transferred to an admin role in the Coast Guard.
That sucks.
said he'd been demoted.
De Falco said that he had been passed up for promotion, that he had also not been told which admin office he was even being transferred to, and that it all effectively
So
cancelled
someone higher up
10
got pissed
years
off
of
at
his
him.
career.
Seems like it.
De
Seems like
Falco was tres furioso. And there was public speculation that it was owing to bad blood between himself and Admiral Delano, his former boss. His status among the public overshadowed his superior in many ways. On the other hand, his boss said, no, it's part of a normal career progression
it's not.
for naval officers, and that he must show more maturity and professionalism to advance his
So,
career.
once again,
Now,
corrupt
it's hard
bastard.
to know what's
Yeah,
true in
pretty
office
much.
politics, so let's leave that alone. And anyway, in 2018, De Falco said Buenas noches, you later, to the
Well, yeah,
Italian
if it
Navy
sucks,
to
just
become a
leave.
politician.
Hey,
In March
he'd actually
that
make
year,
a good
he was
one.
elected to the Italian Senate, serving as a member for Livorno. He still serves there today.
Good. I'm the cappuccino. Uh-oh. Is there no explosion? Yes, there is. Jail time. This is
The
exactly
day
what I've
after
been
the
waiting for.
disaster, Scatino was taken into
Here comes the
custody
good
by
shit.
police and underwent questioning. However, it was clear that this would not be a straightforward investigation. So
Okay.
the judge released him under house arrest at his home in Sorrento, a town in Napoli.
What
By
was
July
the
of that
thing
year,
with
the house
Dave
arrest was
Chappelle?
relaxed and he was
Drug
allowed
dealer,
within
like
this
white-collar crime
general
guy.
area.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
While under house arrest, he wrote a book with this journalist from Rai magazine. I have no idea what it says. I don't speak Italian. But goddammit, he must have some
this
kind of
tomato is
charisma
too
going
spicy.
on, because there's been a lot of speculation in the press that he had an affair with her as well.
You can't keep getting away with it.
Hold on, I got it. Not content with abandoning his ship, this dude is determined to abandon his wife as well.
Well,
So,
yeah,
Scatino
I think she
and
wants to
five
get the
others
hell
are
out of there.
facing criminal charges. Straight
Nailed
away,
it, five.
everyone lodges a plea bargain with the court.
Yeah,
And
no, please.
all of those plea bargains are accepted, except for Scatino's.
I would
and the
imagine
condition
and
of
hope
everyone's
as
reduced
much.
sentences are that they must provide witness testimony
Okay, that also makes
against
sense.
Scatino.
Yeah.
You touched me.
Ciro, Jacob, and Silvia were all given suspended sentences. Roberto and Manrico are able to opt for community service or house arrest. Not a bad deal.
Oh, wait. That's not in prison.
Good deal.
Okay, suspended.
And that meant
Okay,
that
so-
Scatino was now all on his own. Ciro, the first officer, was the
frickin'
first to
deserve
give
that.
his testimony. On the witness
23
stand, he
people dead,
claimed that
numerous
Scatino
injured?
was distracted by his mistress
Oh.
and other guests on the bridge.
Explosion.
That there was confusion over who was in command. Then it was Jacob's turn. And he said, Lamau XD, because he didn't actually bother with his testimony or his reduced sentence. He just fled
Well.
the country. It took authorities 12 months to eventually track him down on the outskirts of
Well, he didn't
Jakarta.
speak English or
And when they
Italian, so
said,
he could
"Oi,
probably just
we
get
still
the
want
hell
that
out."
witness testimony.
No,
He just
I'm out.
scalped again. And he hasn't been found since.
After that,
Makes sense.
Ferrarini gave his testimony, then look, we don't have time to relitigate the whole trial, so let's just go straight to the verdict. Guilty!
Thank God.
Schettino was found guilty of multiple manslaughter, causing a shipwreck, abandoning ship, and lying to authorities. He is sentenced to 16 years and 1 month in prison.
Oh.
That is pretty high.
But 33
But wait,
deaths.
Yeah, at
there's
the
still
same time, it doesn't make
appeals.
sense.
The appeals trial begins.
Yeah, go screw yourself.
And the verdict on the appeal? Surprise! Rejected.
Thank goodness.
So Schettino's lawyers appealed again. And the verdict on the final appeal?
Schettino made multiple attempts
Thank
to secure
God.
a plea deal, but was denied by the prosecution.
At least
each
there's
time.
some justice
the
in the world.
prosecution called for Schettino
People would
to be
go
sentenced
to his house and
26
probably
years
murder
in
the
prison,
douche.
calling the incident a Titanic affair.
Oh, okay. I see what you did there.
Schettino was not present. His lawyers stated that he was waiting outside of the jail for the ruling, so that if his plea was rejected, he
could
could
just go back in.
immediately start serving his sentence.
16
and with that,
years.
5 years and 4 months after the disaster, he was finally innocent.
5 years. God, that took forever.
Wheels of justice move slow.
Another explosion. A line of ship tips.
The salvage
Love
operation
LTT.
was enormous. It took
No,
over
no,
2 years and cost an
God,
estimated
you brought it.
$1.2 billion. Beginning in early 2012, they first spent 2 months pumping fuel from the ship's tanks. At the same time, they had to pump seawater in so that the
So they
ballast
could
wasn't
balance. Look
affected
at
and
that.
the ship didn't
Wow,
slide
look at
around.
that difference.
In early 2013,
Well, one side was underwater
a
for
platform was
years.
built under the ship to prevent it from falling further.
So it didn't just
Sponsons
sink
were then
into the
attached
ocean.
to the sides of the ship,
Even more, at
and
least.
cables attached to the underwater platform. The sponsons were then dragged
least it
underwater
made a lot of
and opened
jobs.
up to allow
Yeah,
the
building all
ocean
that
to
stuff,
fill
getting it all
The
done.
ship could then
Oh,
roll
wow,
over
look.
properly.
Coffee.
It
By
does look
late
like it's been sitting in
2013,
coffee.
the ship was upright once more.
Well, now what are you going to do with it?
The sponsons were then attached to
look
the
at-
side of the ship to help keep it balanced.
Wow.
It now rested partially above water, and crews could walk around safely. By
I
July
wouldn't
2014,
go properly.
the water was removed
getting
from
on
the
that.
sponsons, and
it
compressed
wouldn't be too
air
bad.
was
But
pumped
seawater
in
melts.
to lift the
well,
ship.
does a lot to destroy
And
metal.
she was ready to cruise again. This time
cru-
to a
I was
port
about to say,
in Genoa.
to
It was
cruise?
a 4-day towing journey to the docks where a 2-year process of dismantling and recycling would begin.
So 2014.
That
Oh,
same
wow.
weekend of the towing, Schettino was
God, this
busy.
is so long
He was
ago.
the guest of honor at a white party on an island in the Bay of Naples. He appeared on the front page of a local newspaper, flanked by
Sick.
2 of Italy's most eligible bachelorettes.
Disgusting. Evil.
The end. The end of the Costa Concordia.
Anyway, so these are the things that I remember from the Costa Concordia. That sweet maiden of the sea. And
He
as for you,
stole it.
little fella.
Just dragging it. Keep going.
Well, it's time to return you from whence you came.
God, that face.
He could have picked a better avatar.
Nope. Drip. He got that drip dope.
6 quick things. 1. NordVPN, good product, check them out. Number 2.
I have PIA.
There's a new video on the second channel. You probably didn't see it because it was temporarily restricted. Now it's not. Enjoy. 3. If you've never seen the second channel before, give it a go.
Go
It's
check
a
out
different
that.
type of content, but we put a lot of production into
I'll have
it.
I'll have
It's not
links
just
in-
offcuts.
in
4.
the description.
There are a couple of secret channels as well, but I ain't telling you where they are.
Oh,
5.
come on.
No more 45-minute videos on the main channel. Back to 10 to 15 minutes and more of them.
Ah,
6.
okay.
There's a Q&A coming out next week on Incognito
More
mode.
foot.
It's got a ton of detail that we had to cut for the sake
spaghetti.
of brevity, and will no doubt feature a ton of corrections as well.
True.
That's it. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Spicy.
Well, so that was The Cost of Concordia by the Internet Historian.
Oh, those shitty little edits.
That is the thing that makes him that's what makes him who he is. It's funny because despite the fact that they're garbage, it's funny. It's entertaining. But yeah, overall that was the amount of the cock-up cascade
And stupidity.
just astounding. It's scary how one person, first of all, just like many of the politicians here in the good old United States of America, fail upwards. I mean, just look at Joe Biden and him failing upwards the whole time. And that's the thing. But once again, what's so scary about this is, once again, that person literally, whatever his name is, I don't care enough to try and even remember. But the captain, it's one of those things where, yes, people with politicians, they fail upwards, and then they do wars and all these other stupid rules, and that cause deaths. But the thing is, it's
This person has a legit attachment to people's lives anytime he touches a ship.
Exactly, and he failed upwards to that point. And they were like, the person I need to understand my orders the most, the person who drives the freaking boat,
doesn't speak English or Italian.
Doesn't speak my native language. I'm glad he got screwed up. I'm not screwed. What am I talking about? I'm glad he got the 16 years. He's caused 33 deaths. How many injuries? And once again, I'm so glad that the people, just like with game stonks, which at this point in time, it went down. But it's more than what I paid for. I just bought one. But it's one of those things where, once again, people could have just bought out and been done with it. But at the same time, they did. They said, no, $11,000? Are you freaking kidding me? That's enough for the cost of the ride and all the little expenses you paid. No, screw you. Which, luckily, they ended up paying $30,000 for the people there. Plus, whatever the people who actually sued because of deaths.
Yeah, hopefully that's millions.
I'm hope millions per person, I hope. It's funny, the video is hilarious.
But the subject matter is terrifying.
And it is. It truly is. But, anywho, that's the end of this little insane reaction. So if you like this video, then check the like button. And subscribe for more insanity. And I will see you all later. Bye, everyone.
Bye.